Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. You know, when I think of a mid-size luxury sedan, you can't get much better than a Mercedes-Benz E-Class. In fact, the company has been selling the E-Class name around the world in some form or another since the 1950s. Now, obviously, we've known about the E-Class in America since about 1993 in its current iteration. This is one of the company's best-selling models, and for 2021, as you can see, I'm standing by their completely refreshed 5th generation E-Class, complete with a new engine under the hood. You still have your choice between several body styles: a sedan, a coupe, a wagon, AMG forms. But this week, the company has sent me over an E450, which is supposed to be the sweet spot in the lineup. And the big question I want answered: is this completely refreshed E-Class still the quintessential mid-size luxury car? Stay tuned to find out.
Hey guys, before we get started with the review, I want to give a quick shout out to Keeps for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. Now, did you guys know that 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? I don't know about you guys, but I turn 32 next month, and I definitely don't want to become one of those statistics. Now, the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have the hair left. This is where Keeps comes in, because you can get treatment delivered straight to your front door. That's right, all you have to do is go to Keeps' website, answer a few questions, talk to actual doctors, and they'll ship you the product every 3 months or so you no longer have to deal with those awkward doctor visits of the past. Now, I've been using Keeps since March of 2020, and I have to say, I'm pretty happy with the results. Now, Keeps basically sends you a box like this in a very discreet package. It comes with 2 products that I use every day, essentially. This is a mousse that I put in my hair every time I get out of the shower. So all you do is just open it up, spray a little bit amount in your palm, and just kind of put the mousse right in the crown of your hair and just kind of rub it in. And it basically feels like any other mousse that you would apply to your hair. In addition to the mousse, I also take a pill once a day that is pretty small. You literally just take it once a day right after I get out of the shower. Now, prevention is the key, and Keeps treatments take about 4 to 6 months before you actually see results. And in that time frame, I've really noticed my hair has started to grow in a lot thicker. It's starting to grow back in the front, so I no longer have really that receding hairline. And even in the back of my hair, or the back, my hair has actually come back pretty fully. So I'm pretty happy with the results. So if you guys are ready to take action and prevent more hair loss, be sure to visit the link in the description, or just go to www.keeps.com/redline, where you can save up to 50% off of your first order. That's right, 50%. That's keeps.com/redline. And now let's get back to the video.
So for those of you who are still in the market for a sedan, the new E-Class for 2021 is going to be one of the best options you can choose, especially when you look at the overall package. Now, let's start off with the design, because Mercedes first showed off the 5th generation E-Class back in 2017, and for 2021 you can see it got a pretty significant refresh. The pre-refresh model looked a lot like a miniature C-Class, which also looked like a miniature S-Class. This takes a lot of styling cues from the A-Class, which at first I didn't think was a good idea, because the A-Class is on the lowest end of the hierarchy within the Mercedes-Benz family. But as you can see, looking at the front fascia, my tester here is the E450 model. Now, this does not have any kind of AMG Sport bodyline package, but painted in this lunar blue, dark blue metallic exterior, this is one very elegant looking sedan. I actually really like the front fascia. When I first saw this car in pictures, I didn't like the design. I thought it looked a little bit too bland. It still looks a little bit bland, but you can't argue with these new full LED headlights. My tester here has the optional lighting package, so they are swiveling adaptive with automatic high beams. You can see the LED lights have a signature LED daytime running light and turn signals, and you also have kind of an all-weather light. There are no fog lights in the lower fascia. I really like the way my tester is spec'd out with this dark blue. It is missing the night package, which would kind of black out the chrome that you see down here in the lower front fascia. You have a big Mercedes star over here, which houses the Distronic radar cruise control sensor, and there's a front camera system, because my tester has, of course, the optional 360 camera that you get with a parking tech package. Now, looking at the rest of the profile, you can see the E-Class remains the company's mid-size offering, so this is supposed to be the right size for a lot of people looking for a luxury sedan. The one thing that I must talk about, of course, are these new wheels. These are, of course, the 20-inch wheel option with kind of like the brighter silver finish. You can also get a black finish if you guys go for the night package. These wheels, I hated them when I saw them. I still don't really like them. They look better in the actual builder on the website, but they have this, you can see this interesting gray ring that surrounds them, but you also have these big cross-drilled rotors in the back with 4-piston calipers. I think the calipers could be painted. You'll get that, of course, on the AMG models, but let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the wheel design. Now, at 194 inches long, this is about the same size, of course, as a BMW 5 Series. It definitely looks big from this angle. I really think the new E-Class has a really nice presence to it. Actually kind of reminds me a little bit of an S-Class, but it's about a foot shorter than an S-Class. Its wheelbase is around 115 inches long, so this is a pretty good sized vehicle for a lot of Americans. Now you can see my tester for $1,000 has a big panoramic sunroof, which is nice, big side windows as well. And then at the back, there are no swoopy coupe-like design cues. Go buy a Mercedes-Benz CLS if you want that, or an AMG GT 4-door. But looking at the rear, I didn't like the rear design at first, but I have to say it's kind of grown on me. I think the best option is if you guys add their deck lid rear spoiler. The 450 model, again, includes these integrated exhausts, which are actually fake exhaust pieces. The exhaust is actually hidden under the bumper, so Mercedes is now doing the fake exhaust system. You can see the chrome trim here is chrome. You can also black it out if you guys go for the night package, and you have these full LED taillights with LED turn signals and brake lights, although they don't have the sequential feature that you find on some Audi products. Now, opening up the trunk, you can see the trunk for the sedan measures around 13 cubic feet, which is a decent size. The seats fold down in a 60-40 or 40-20-40 manner. And if you look underneath here, you can see no spare tire. Instead, this car comes with run flat tires. So if you guys are looking for that, you may want to add that as a dealer accessory. So now as we move into the interior of the refreshed E-Class, I want to remind you guys that Mercedes has already put out some pretty impressive interiors over the years. The E-Class, the current one, or the pre-refreshed model, had one of the nicest cabins in the industry. So I was pretty curious to see how could Mercedes make it better for 2021. And as you can see, to my surprise, Mercedes took an already nice cabin and just made it even nicer. This interior, to me, even though it's been on the market for a few years, still looks and feels incredibly new and upscale. It feels incredibly expensive in here. It even smells expensive. The highlight of this cabin, of course, is this new steering wheel with the touch capacitive controls. The wheel itself actually looks pretty good. I like the way the leather feels. I like how it's a power tilt telescoping design. For some reason, my tester's wheel is not heated, but you can, of course, get that as an option. The horn doesn't want to work unless you actually turn the car on, which I'll honk it one more time. And then, of course, the door panel you can see here has this beautiful kind of macchiato saddle brown two-tone combination. This is, of course, part of a $5,000 Designo upgrade with this real wood grain trim. The door also has a soft close feature, so all I have to do is kind of click it and the door closes for me automatically. But if you don't want to do that, you can slam it and it has a very solid sounding thunk. Now, here's the key fob for the vehicle. Of course, this is the latest Mercedes-Benz key fob. It does include their smart key access system with push button start. The button to fire up the engine is over here behind the steering wheel. And remember, this is a 48-volt mild hybrid system, so it doesn't start up in the same way that you would traditionally expect this vehicle to, because it kind of just whirs to life because of the mild hybrid system, which makes the start-stop more efficient. The horn, it has the typical horn sound. I think it's actually a nice sounding horn. And overall, this cabin with this $5,000 upcharge for the Designo leather, it even reminds you that in the seat back, looks and feels expensive. It smells expensive because my tester has the air balance package, which wafts a perfume, and it has an in-cabin ionizer, which is really nice. Now, of course, how could you ignore these two massive 12.3-inch displays? There's one over here, of course, in the instrument panel, and then one over here for the infotainment system. Now, of course, it does include Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is not wireless, however. You have to plug in your phone from the USB-C connector down here. You can see now it's a touchscreen. The old E-Class had the old command system without the touchscreen. You had to use the little mouse pad or the controller pad, the dial pad. Now they've replaced that with a touch pad over here, which works like a mouse pad with haptic feedback, or you can also just use the touch response, or you can also use the control here on the steering wheel. So there's a pretty sharp learning curve, but once you learn MBUX, it works extremely well. Going back to the home display, you can see there it's taking up the entire screen. I kind of wish Mercedes would kind of merge the two screens together and just have it one big 24-inch screen. It looks like that already, but there's actually a black space right here because the two screens are actual separate screens. Now over here you can see very easy to use once you figure it out. I like how it's now a touchscreen, although this is a little bit of a far reach for me. You can see there's the factory GPS, which does include augmented reality. That is, of course, an upcharge that you pay for when you guys go for you know, the upgraded MBUX infotainment system. The augmented reality works fantastically when you're using, or when you're having it give you directions. It actually uses the camera in the mirror and overlays what's actually the image there with the street names over it. So that's, again, very futuristic technology. Mercedes was one of the first ones to do it. And other manufacturers, of course, are going to start copying that at some point. When you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see my tester has the full 360 camera with impressive resolutions and graphics. You can kind of change the views. It has parking sensors. It has trajectory and markings. This is one of the best backup cameras in the industry, which doesn't surprise me. This is a Mercedes-Benz. Your other sources, of course, you can choose from your media, your radio sources. Comfort is accessed over here. When you guys want to go for the massaging seats, you can kind of choose all these different levels of massage. This is the same stuff, of course, that we see in other Mercedes products, so nothing else has really changed. The ambient lighting in here, you can see there's a plethora of different options to choose from and colors. This cabin at night just looks like a nightclub. It's very, very elegant in here. So this is one of the reasons why you choose a Mercedes-Benz cabin. I like the wood grain trim with the two-tone saddle brown. I don't love the white carpet though, you can see, and the white steering wheel. This is going to get very dirty. So if you guys have dirty hands, you need to make sure you clean this up once a month. Otherwise the carpet and the steering wheel is going to look like crap after a few years of hard use. Like I mentioned before, I like the way these dash vents look with the 4 vents. This hasn't changed. You have hard buttons over here, of course, shortcut buttons to actually access some of your different settings, tri-zone climate control, wireless phone charger over here, 2 cup holders. Although the cup holders are not heated and cooled, you can adjust these cup holders a tad depending on your drink size. Over here, a few other buttons. You can close and open up that rear power shade, which is optional. Adjust the air suspension. This will raise the vehicle up and down, of course. The air suspension is optional, $2,000 extra. The dynamic, these drive mode selectors over here, we can choose between Sport Plus, Comfort, Eco, and then of course there's also an individual setting where you can kind of customize all those settings. The graphics that it shows you is also pretty cool. You can't really argue, you know, with some of this stuff that Mercedes throws in these vehicles. This is a nice padded armrest over here, which offers a good amount of storage, 2 more USB-Cs in there, of course, and above me, like I said, $1,000 for the pano sunroof that my tester has, which actually has a little area here, so it's not one continuous piece of glass. I kind of wish it was. Lots of LED lighting in the cabin in here, which is really nice. And I also like the suede Alcantara headliner. There's even leather stitching on the grab handle over there on the roof, and the glove compartment, you can see, is a decent size. You can see there's the fragrance there for the air balance kit. This is not lined with felt, but it is damped. So overall, the cabin is still very, very nice, full of all the latest tech nowadays. Heads-up display over there as well. Very comfortable, very spacious, and I think a lot of people, it may be overwhelming at first, but this is one of the reasons why you continue to buy a Mercedes, because it has some of the nicest interiors in the business. Hopping in the back seat of the new E-Class, you can see this hasn't really changed. This is still the same size vehicle that it was before Mercedes refreshed it, so it does give you pretty much class average interior space. If you guys want more space, you're going to want to go for an S-Class or even look at a GLE. Now, as you can see, at 5'7", I have plenty of space back here to kind of get comfortable. Mercedes says you get around 36.5 inches of legroom. There is a fairly large hump here because remember, this is a rear drive chassis. You can see this interior is very, very nice. The door panel in the back even has the same stitched leather, wood grain, and metal speaker covers. The Burmester sound system that my tester has 23 speakers, and it sounds phenomenal. Totally worth the upcharge if you guys want it. When you shut the door, you can see lots of beautiful looking materials. You can see there's the interior lighting, which is kind of just wafted throughout the cabin, which makes this look very nice. The MBUX finally has responded because it wasn't doing that earlier when I kept saying Mercedes. But now it decided to do it from the rear. You have 2 rear seat air vents back here. You can also close and open the vents. My tester also has heated rear seats for 3 levels, in addition to the cooled and heated seats that you get in the front. They are adjustable in like 18 different ways. The seats themselves have the same beautiful high quality leather, which is really nice. And then if you fold this down here, you get an armrest, of course, with a little bit of storage, 2 cup holders, and then you have 2 map pockets here. So overall, the back seat of the E-Class is still very nice, but remember, you're gonna wanna go for an S-Class or a GLE if you need more interior space. Now, one of the reasons the E-Class is so special is because Mercedes offers it with a wide plethora of different engine choices. Of course, you can go for a base E350 model with a 4-cylinder turbo, but why would you do that? You at least want to go for this model here, which is the E450. It includes a new turbocharged, electrified straight 6-cylinder engine option that replaces the old V6. Now, as you can see, there isn't really much to look at underneath here, but this is the same motor that I sampled, of course, in a lot of newer Mercedes-Benz products. The new GLE has this powertrain. It's a 3-liter turbocharged straight 6-cylinder engine. So no longer is it a V6, it's now an inline 6. It also has a 48-volt mild hybrid system, and it makes the same power as the old 3-liter twin-turbo V6 at 362 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. The mild hybrid system kind of replaces the front accessory belts with an electric motor that assists this car to have smoother start-stop capability, and also it boosts the engine by about 84 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Now that 24 horsepower isn't able to be added to the actual output of the 6-cylinder because it can't actually combine the ratings. Instead, it's supposed to just kind of assist the vehicle at low speeds when the turbochargers are spooling up. So you're gonna notice improved acceleration and low-end torque, especially around town. It all goes out through a one-choice only 9-speed automatic transmission. This is the company's own transmission design. And with the 6-cylinder E450, 4Matic plus all-wheel drive comes standard, or 4Matic all-wheel drive. This isn't the Plus system, that's included in the AMG models. If you guys go for an E350, you can get rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as an option. If you guys want more power than this, there's also an E53, which has a juiced-up version of this powertrain, making 429 horsepower. And then, of course, for the crazy, there's the E63S, which has 603 horsepower from a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. That's the only way you're going to get a V8 in the E-Class, is you have to go for the E63. Now, one of the big reasons why Mercedes switched to this powertrain is improved fuel economy. This is now rated to get 22 in the city, 30 on the highway, 26 combined. Even with all-wheel drive, this actually gets better gas mileage than the 4-cylinder. So there's really little reason to choose the 4-cylinder unless you're at a price budget, because this is, of course, going to be about $5,700 more versus the 4-cylinder version. Mercedes says this vehicle will get to 60 in under 5 seconds, around 4.9 seconds. And of course, premium gas is going to be required when you fill this bad boy up. As this one sits, it weighs in at a little over 4,200 pounds. All right, so the refreshed E-Class, complete with a new powertrain. This is a 3-liter straight-six electrified powertrain. No launch control this time. I'm just gonna floor it and see how this thing does. Ooh. Wow. All right. I mean, the noise is augmented, but it definitely sounds good, so I'm okay with it being an augmented noise. That is a really impressive amount of power, considering this is not an AMG model. Now, granted, you can get an E53 and it has the same engine, but, you know, extra horsepower, like an extra, you know, 60, 70 horsepower versus this one. But I'm pretty impressed with how this vehicle accelerates. I really like the way, ooh, it sounds really good. It's so smooth. Ooh, and that 9-speed auto is the perfect partner for this vehicle. I'm just super impressed. So let's try a quick little launch control in here. Just floor the brake and the accelerator. With that 4Matic plus all-wheel drive, or it's just regular 4Matic, this thing just rockets off the line. Mercedes says you'll get to 60 in 4.9 seconds with the 450 model. Car and Driver just recently tested this vehicle and they got 4.3 seconds with 1 foot of rollout. So it's actually slightly quicker versus the old C4 or E450 that had the 3-liter V6 twin turbo engine. This inline 6 is just such a joy to just rev out. It's just got power everywhere. It's so smooth. Oh, what a perfect powertrain. Perfect powertrain. Now, granted, the BMW engines sound a little bit more meaty. They sound a little bit more enthusiastic, but this has the smoothness of that straight 6 from BMW, but with that electrified option, you really feel that shove of low-end torque. You've got 369 pound-feet, and it's available very, very low, like under 2,000 RPM. The E-Class just has plenty of power for a luxury sedan. This is the perfect amount of power for those of you who don't need the full-on AMG model. Now, thankfully, the E-Class is still one of the best luxury sedans on the market, and this is the epitome of luxury sedan. My tester here with the Airmatics air suspension has the most pillowy ride quality. 20-inch wheels, yet it just glides. It literally glides over bumps. It does have the adaptive dampers as well. I highly recommend going for the big 20-inch, or for the air suspension if you're gonna get this car. The air suspension really just makes this car feel so much more special. And even though I don't love the way this looks on the outside, I'm very impressed with the interior on this thing, how this car drives. God, what what a perfect amount of power. I'm so impressed actually with this car. I love the E450. So those of you who want to buy this car, I'd say skip the E350, which is a 4-cylinder. Go for the 450 for an extra, $5,700. It's worth the upcharge, especially when you're already spending, $60,000 or something like this. Now, in terms of the rest of the driving, the E-Class it's never really been the sportiest offering. I mean, the BMW has always had that title more so. The Lexus GS has actually also been pretty surprisingly sporty. Cadillac CT5 is probably even sportier still. This one here, with its 20-inch wheels, it's definitely more of a softer tuned luxury sedan, but it will, handle those turns and bumps. It will, corner carve with the best of them. The steering is quick, but also a little bit on the lighter side. There's not really much feedback coming through, but that's kind of okay because the mission of this car for me is to be a luxury sedan. I love the ride quality. I love the visibility in here. I love all the driver assistance tech. This has the optional driver assistance tech plus package, so it has the active lane keep assist, automatic lane changing, pedestrian detection, traffic jam assistance, and so forth. The 9-speed auto is an amazing partner. It does come with paddles on the wheel, so you can take control of the manual mode if you'd like. God, what a powertrain. It's just the perfect powertrain if you're looking for the best gasoline engine you can buy today. This is definitely one of them. Now, in terms of comfort, I also like the seats on my tester. This has the optional $5,000 Designo leather upgraded seats. I also have massaging seats, so I'm sitting here getting a massage. They're heated and cooled. For some reason, my tester is missing a heated steering wheel. It's supposed to come with a warmth and comfort package for $1,000, but my tester is only $840 and it's missing a heated steering wheel. So it might just be a fluke because I've got a early build, press car. But everything about this car just makes you feel like you've bought something special. And I think that's the whole point of an E-Class. Oh, just power for days, amazing transmission, pillowy ride quality, yet in Sport Plus it really can, handle the curves extremely well. And this car feels nimble and small. It doesn't feel big and heavy as I expected the older E-Classes to feel. This just feels like a sporty sedan, but also a luxury sedan. I mean, this isn't the best sporty midsize sedan you can buy, but it really does an amazing job of striking that balance. That's the beauty about these current Mercedes products. They just have a beautiful balance to them. God, that is just impressive. Super impressive. I love the way this car accelerates and feels. And just because we can, we're going to do the launch control one more time. Wow. Very impressive. Very impressive. I have very little complaints with this car, other than the fact that it's damn expensive. But if I needed a luxury sedan that could also handle the curves, that has full of the latest technology, luxury, convenience features, plus a stately elegance to the design, although it's a little bit on the bland side, I would most definitely put this one at the top of my list. And there's a reason why the E-Class has the lineage and heritage that it's always had. Now, briefly I want to talk about the fuel economy. MPG improved by 3 MPG combined for this vehicle. I averaged 24 miles per gallon in my week's worth of testing with it, which is impressive considering this is an inline 6 with 362 horsepower and it weighs over 2 tons. I think a lot of you will find that the E450 is the sweet spot in the E-Class lineup, and that's even before I've driven the 53 and the 63 models, which have bonkers engines. Well, the 63 does, but you can't really beat the smoothness and refinement of a straight 6. So after spending a week with the 2021 Mercedes-Benz E-Class, I've pretty much decided that previously, if you were looking to buy one of the best German midsize luxury sedans, I always recommended this, and that stays true for the 2021 model year. Mercedes essentially took all of the weaknesses of the pre-refreshed model and made them better this year. Of course, we have the new MBUX infotainment system, which is a little bit harder to use or learn, but once you learn it and master it, is much better than the old command interface. We have an exterior design, which is still a little bit on the conservative side, but with the right options in the AMG models, you can can get a sedan that is very, very tasteful. Of course, there's also the wagon, there's the coupe, there's the convertible. The wagon is the one that I'm partially interested to drive in, especially the all-terrain model, which is the off-road oriented version, and of course the E63, which is the crazy fast bonker version, which competes with Audi's RS6 Avant. But really, if you guys are looking for kind of a middle of the road mid-size luxury sedan, you can't really get much better than the E450. As you guys saw, it has an amazing ride quality with the air suspension. It's got plenty of power, just the right amount of power from that 3-liter straight 6-cylinder engine, and its smoothness is just uncanny. It makes this car even better to drive. It's got an interior that coddles you with those lovely massaging seats, which are comfortable, that quilted Designo leather, which is really, really supple. The overall proportions of this car, I think, are just right. It's just the right size with just enough back seat space, just enough trunk space for those of you who want a sedan. And if you have to have a sedan, this is definitely one of the best ones out there. Now, sadly, if you're going to want one of these vehicles, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for the new E-Class, because this car starts at a little over $52,000, 53 and change when you factor in the destination. If you guys want the 450 model, this is going to start at over $62,000. Remember, 450 comes with the 6-cylinder, and it also comes standard with 4Matic all-wheel drive. It's roughly a $6,000 upcharge over the 4-cylinder to get the E-Class with a 6-cylinder. My recommendation is just do it, because it's just a much better powertrain versus the 4. Now, of course, my tester is not a base model. It has plenty of options in it, with the interior that's $5,000 more, the upgraded wheels, the upgraded augmented GPS, the upgraded Burmester sound system, the upgraded headlight technology, the pano sunroof. My tester here stickers for an eye-watering $85,000 and some change. 85 grand used to be S-Class money, but of course, there is a new S-Class coming out that starts at over $100,000. So if you're looking for S-Class levels of technology, luxury, and not necessarily the space, but just kind of in between, the 2021 E-Class still represents one of the best ones out there. And if you guys have to have a sedan, I'd highly recommend putting this one on your list, especially if you can afford its steep price tag. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2021 Mercedes-Benz E450 sedan. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.